Hey there, beautiful souls, and welcome to Uncovering Your Inner Power. Today, I want to talk about mindset. And before we go any further, I want to level with you. Just because I share empowering content and talk about the daily practices that I utilize for personal growth and empowerment, I am still just as vulnerable to the trappings of daily life as anyone else. I still have moments where my mind races. I still have days where I question myself. I still feel concern about the future or frustration about something that didn't go the way I'd hoped. Me and any other personal development coach, teacher, or mentor you follow has his or her own set of past circumstances to navigate, our own current challenges, and things about the future that concern us. That doesn't make us hypocrites. It makes us human. This is totally normal. And this is important because sometimes we put people who talk about growth on a pedestal and assume they must be floating 3 feet above the ground in constant peace. No, growth isn't the absence of struggle. Growth is how quickly you recognize when you've drifted and how gently you guide yourself back. What I want to impress upon you is that your past, your present, and your future do not define your worth. You are worthy just because you exist, not because of what you have accomplished, not because of how well you regulate your emotions, not because of how spiritual, productive, fit, wealthy, or healed you think you are. You are worthy because you are alive. Mindset is not about pretending everything is perfect. It's about choosing the lens through which you view your experience. I have a mantra that helps carry me through the times when life seems challenging or overwhelming. And that is, things are always working out well for me. Now, when I first started saying that, it felt a little bit like I was trying to convince myself of something. But if I look back over the span of my life, I see that this is 100% accurate. There have been countless times in my life when I have ruminated endlessly over circumstances that I was certain would be catastrophic. I lost sleep. I replayed conversations over and over again in my mind, trying to manufacture a different result. I imagined worst-case scenarios with cinematic detail. And then, out of nowhere, an ideal resolution would turn up. A conversation would soften, an opportunity would arise, a door would close that needed to close, and a better one would open. Not always the way I expected, not always comfortable, but ultimately, things always align in a way that supports my growth. No, things have not always been easy for me. And life is not meant to be that way. Just like strength training your muscles to help them grow, our life challenges serve to help us to grow and mature. When you lift weights, you're literally creating microscopic tears in the muscle fibers. That stress signals the body to rebuild stronger. Without resistance, there is no growth. The same is true emotionally and spiritually. Without contrast, we would not expand. Without discomfort, we would not deepen our capacity for compassion, resilience, and wisdom. And if we use these circumstances to help those around us along the way, none of it is in vain. The very thing that once broke your heart can become the bridge that allows you to understand someone else's pain. The failure that humbled you can become the story that gives someone else hope. Utilizing your pain for the support of another is an act of deep compassion and love. It has often troubled me that despite the fact that I know deep in my soul, I know things are working out well for me, it still doesn't stop me from sinking into the spiral of inner turmoil at times. You would think that once you know better, you would automatically do better, right? But mindset isn't a light switch, it's a practice. What I've come to realize is that this, too, is part of the growth process. Awareness is layered. The first time you catch yourself spiraling, it might be after 3 days of anxiety. The next time, maybe it's after a day. Eventually, you catch it within an hour, and then maybe within minutes. Every time something works out, I contemplate the experience. I look back and I ask myself, where did I tighten unnecessarily? Where did I assume the worst? Where did I forget to trust? And where did I actually respond beautifully? This reflection is not about self-criticism. It's about refinement. It helps me see where I could have acted or thought differently. It helps me recognize patterns that are ready to be released. Even though I backslide often, I never slide all the way back to the beginning. That's the part that we don't give ourselves enough credit for. It really isn't 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. It feels like that sometimes because the back step is uncomfortable. But in reality, it's more like 3 steps forward and 1 step back. And eventually, you are so far ahead of where you used to be that if your old self met you today, she or he wouldn't even recognize the strength that you carry. Even if it takes what seems like an eternity, mindset is not about eliminating fear. It's about changing your relationship with it. Fear might still knock at the door, but it doesn't get to redecorate the house. Something that has developed in my awareness is that the breath is the doorway to the divine. And I don't say that lightly. I say that because it is the most accessible, immediate tool that we have. If you think about it, when you sit down and just breathe, truly breathe, concentrating on the inhale and where it lands in your body, you will feel a deep sense of pureness. The inhale is life entering you, and the exhale is release. As you exhale, you'll feel a deep sense of letting go. Following the breath all the way into its fullness brings you to that deep space of divine being, the place where your true essence begins from. It's in this space where nothing exists. No fear, no anger, no shame, no frustration, just pure being. That doesn't mean your problems disappear. It means your identification with them softens. For me, I breathe deep down into my center, and as I exhale, I feel as though all the static on the way back up is being washed clean. The mental chatter quiets, the emotional charge lessens, the body unclenches, and here's the thing. This is not mystical in a way that's inaccessible. It's physiological. Slow, intentional breathing regulates the nervous system. It signals safety. It moves you from fight or flight into rest and digest. When your body feels safe, your mind follows. The ego mind will continue to try to flood your awareness with thoughts, many of which will not be in service of your mental and emotional well-being. Some of them will be old scripts, some of them will be protective patterns. Some will be completely irrational, worst-case scenarios dressed up as just being realistic. If you can practice reminding yourself that thoughts are like clouds in the sky, you can allow them to float on past. Your consciousness is like the sky, and the clouds have no impact on the sky itself. The sky is not harmed by a storm. It is not improved by a sunny day. It simply allows. I remind myself that clouds can be light and fluffy, like positive, nourishing thoughts. Or they can be like storm clouds. It could be a light drizzle of uncomfortable emotions, or it could be a deluge of tumultuous weather. But the saving grace is knowing that you are not the weather, you are the sky. And you have the power to be like the wind, to gently, intentionally move the thoughts that do not serve you past your awareness. Picture yourself as the wind, blowing the storm clouds away and allow them to dissipate. That doesn't mean you suppress them. It means you don't cling to them. You don't build an identity around them. You don't let one passing storm define the climate of your life. And you can allow the thoughts that are gratifying and nourishing to linger like a warm summer's day. Mindset is a choice layered on top of awareness. It's noticing the thought that says, this is going to end badly, and countering it with, things are always working out well for me. It's noticing the urge to catastrophize and choosing curiosity instead. It's recognizing when you're gripping too tightly and choosing to breathe. You will not get this perfect. I certainly don't. But perfection is not the goal. Expansion is. Every time you return to the breath instead of spiral, you strengthen that pathway. Every time you choose to trust over panic, even if it's messy and imperfect, you reinforce a new narrative. And over time, that narrative becomes your baseline. Uncovering your inner power is not about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you are beneath the noise, beneath the conditioning, beneath the fear. You are the awareness behind the thought. You are the calm beneath the storm. You are the strength that has carried you through every single thing you thought you wouldn't survive, and yet you did. So when life feels overwhelming, come back to the simplest thing. Inhale, exhale. Remind yourself, things are always working out well for me. Not because life is easy, but because you are resilient, because you are learning, because even your detours are shaping you into someone wiser, deeper, more compassionate. Mindset is not denial. It is direction. And you, beautiful soul, have far more power over the direction of your inner world than you have ever been taught to believe. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me today. I truly honor you for being here and for choosing to do this deeper work. If this episode resonated with you, I'd love to stay connected. You can sign up for my newsletter at empoweredbythestorm.com/newsletter. And when you do, you'll receive a free copy of my How to Love Yourself workbook as a thank you. My book, Empowered by the Storm, is also available on Amazon if you'd like to go deeper into this work on your own time. And if you're feeling called to more personal support, you can visit my website to explore private coaching and see if it feels like the right next step for you. Until next time, be gentle with yourself, trust your journey, and remember, your healing matters.